Okay, our last episode, we were just wrapping up the part where the game runs through these screens. It still doesn't play, but there's our player. So we want to be able to make the player move and keep them inside that area. So when the player moves, they can't go into the scoreboard, they can't go off the screen. So we're going to have to do a few things to make that work. Now, worth discussing and pointing out that our layer panel has got a different layer for every set of commands. It just makes sense to organize things that way. So I'm going to add a new layer and drag that to the bottom, and I'm going to call this player move. It's also going to have player shooting in it. So I'm going to call it player move. So each layer's got something to do. I'm going to go back to my VARs layer. As you may recall, my VARs layer has something about the version in here. So I'm going to say version 2. And you should save as a new version now. So file, save as, change to a new version. I kind of already did it without telling you. So version 2. And with this one, we're going to add player moving. Okay, so keeping it simple a little bit at a time. So going to the player move layer, I'm going to have some new variables first. So there we go, little comments. I like to have fun with my comments, just why keep it boring? Okay, so we're going to have some variables first. First variable is going to be, variable could be player speed. And we're going to say equals just 12 for now. I don't know, wildly guessing. We can change it later. Let's see, we're going to have a few booleans for up, right, down, left. So variable left, boolean, and that's going to start off as false. And you know I'm kind of lazy because you've seen me do this a few times. The danger of cutting and pasting is you may forget what to change. So we're going to have left, right, up, and down. Now, here's something to note. Which ones do you need for your game? Do you need left and right only? Do you need up and down only? Or do you need all four? So that's kind of a value to have. We're also going to say variable shot ready, and that's going to equal true. So there we go. So shot ready is going to be something that's going to allow us to moderate the shooting, so it's not just a fire hose of shots. It'll be something that the player has to hit the buttons on a little bit. Well, we can adjust that over time. There's 2 or 3 approaches to making the shooting work. So I'm trying to remember if that's all of the, let's have shooting. Variable shot speed. And we'll make that equal to 14. So it moves just a little bit faster than our player, maybe 15, I don't know. You gotta experiment with these things to see what works best. Okay, so we're trying to move our player, and let's move through this. So we're going to now make a add event listener, I think. Nope, it's going to be a keyboard event. So we're going to say stage.add event listener. So the stage is the parent of the keyboard, strangely enough. So add, not add child, sorry, add event listener. So the add event listener for this is going to be a keyboard event. And it's going to be key underscore down, and we're going to call out the check down function. Now here's the great thing about this stuff. If you keep this stuff generic enough when you write your code, you can wind up using the same code for lots of different games. Just copy and paste it. So we're going to make a new function called check down. It's a keyboard event, and export or output is void, and then we say here's oops. Alright, so now what does check down do? Let me just make some room to put this up centered better. Oops, not quite what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do was put this there. So let's make some room so it shows up better in the middle of the screen for you. Alright, so check down is going to say if playing equals true. So only if playing is true. If playing is false, don't do this thing. But we're going to say that when it is playing, make it move. So we got this. So if playing is true, Then we want to check and see if e.keycode double equals. This is a logic tech. Is this relationship true? So if this is left, keyboard.left, has to be all caps. So this part is just title case. This is all caps. So if that is true, then we're going to do this. Now, we're just going to initially just check it. So trace, and we're going to say going, I can spell this, I totally can. Going left. Alright, let's try it. So when I click this, I'm going to look for my output panel. Like this. So when I hit the left key, it did this. Nothing happens with right or down or up or down. Just left. Left key is the only one that gives us any feedback in the output panel. And what that's great about is it works. So the playing is true is set up in the start. By when the start level thing happens, playing becomes true. So later we'll have that be false under certain conditions. So here's what we want to do. We want to copy and paste this. And again, here's what we're doing. We're going to be, before we get too copyish about this, let's say set left to true. Now, all that stuff is going to be done 4 times. Why type everything if you can copy it? So I'm going to copy this and paste it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Dangerous. I have the same thing 4 times in a row. Here's what we want to do. We need to go to each one and change them. So right, up, down, and now we're going to go back to these and say right and up and down. You might notice I'm double clicking, and double clicking will select the entire word. Sometimes it selects more, but most of the time it just gets the one piece. So here's what we have to have though. We also have to have it know, like if it's true, there's nothing here to make it not true. So what we want to do is now make this whole thing and copy it. And again, danger, danger, right? Very dangerous here, the thing that we're doing, because we're copying an entire listener function pair and then changing its value. So now we're going to change the name of this one. So now this is a copy of it. Change it to check up. So now where it was key down, sorry, there we go, key down, now it's going to be key up. And check up. And this one becomes check up. So there's several things to change. Okay, so check up. Now it's checking to see which key was being put up. So if it's left, then we're going to change left to false. And I'm just going to copy this and paste it. So every time we put the key down, the value becomes true, and if we put the key up, it becomes false. And I'm going to take out the trace commands just by commenting them. Sometimes it's handy to have those. So you can always go back. Oops, I copied trace all the way through. What a silly man. Okay, so now I have to either delete those or comment them out. Where did I goof that up? Okay, doesn't matter as long as we comment them out. Otherwise, it's just going to say the same thing over and over again. Alright, so now nothing happens. Absolutely nothing happens. But what it does do is, look, up, right, down, left, we took out the comments, or the traces, so nothing's coming out of output. But what we're doing is changing these values so the ship knows which way to go. So here's what we're going to do next. Let's add another function. This one is just add event listener. Nothing it needs to be attached to. And it's going to be an event dot, oops, spell event right, sir. Event dot enter underscore frame, type properly, there we go. And we're going to make a thing called move player. Now if this was a term I was going to say over and over again, I'd try to figure out how to make it shorter, but we'll only use it twice. So function, and you can say copy this, Control C, and paste, Control V. It's a result of an event. We say avoid. Alright, Now, what does this thing do? Well, it's going to check. It's going to have more if-thens, right? If this, then that. So we're going to say if left, and I don't have to put a, like you could say if left is true, as we did up there. It turns out you can just say if left, and it assumes that to be the case. So if left is true, then let's just steal my trace code from up here, copy and paste. Alright, so now we check. Does it work? Push left, and it's going left. Notice that every time I push left, it gives me that a bunch of times, because this is an enter frame. Enter frame means do this over and over again for every frame that passes. So what we'll do instead of saying trace is we'll say player.x, and left is minus, so minus equals player speed. Let's try it out. Goes through, and indeed it works, but it does not come back. It's gone forever. What do we do? It's actually not gone forever. You can bring it back. Oh, I don't have it right yet. So it's not going to come back unless you say stop where you are. So we now say if player.x becomes less than, let's say player.width. Now we could say 0, but if we say player.width, it's going to give us a margin at the edge of the game. So if that's true, and we can copy this again, if player.x, and we're going to change this alligator to an equal sign. So paste this and change that to equal. So now, when you run it, it's going to go all the way to the left and stop. Bam, it stops. So now we can use that piece, that little snippet, as a model for the rest of what we're doing. So if left is true, now we'll do the same thing for right. Copy, paste, and again, you get to decide. Do you need just left and right? Do you need just up and down? So you have to think through. Don't just copy my code. Think, what do I need for my game? Am I going left, down, left, right, up, down, or am I just going up, down, or left, right? So only use what you need. So player.x this time is going to be plus equals player speed. And we're going to say if player x is greater than, and here we're going for the right side. Now that you may recall, we have a rather gargantuan scoreboard thing on the right side, so we probably want to make up some boundaries. So I'm just going to write these up here. Variable L bound equals player width. Variable R bound, right boundary, equals, here's the thing, so it's stage width minus the width of the scoreboard, so score bg dot width. So then we're also going to say minus player dot width. Okay, now we're going to have the same thing for up and down, for top and bottom. Now again, only if you need, think of what you need. Do you need top, bottom, left, right, or what? So top bound, this is for mine, equals, top bound is going to be player.height, I think, and then variable bottom bound is going to be stage.sh height minus player.height. Now again, you got to think through this. In my case, I have a boundary at the right side that takes into account the scoreboard on the right side. If your scoreboard is somewhere else, you will need to adjust your boundaries to fit. So let's get down here, and I've got this boundary issue. So I could just say here and say, okay, instead of player.width, we're going to say L bound. And same here, L bound. It looks like a 1, it's an L bound. So now we're going to have a right boundary, and this one's greater than right boundary, and equals right boundary. So let's try that. Run through the click, and it goes right, and it stops. It goes left, and it stops. Okay, same thing that you'll do for the other. So I can now have copy, paste. Again, very dangerous to just copy stuff. But now we're going to say if up and if down. And instead of, let's see, if up is going to be y, so I'm going to change all these x's to y's. Oops. And one left. There we go. So now we're going to change our bounds. So if the up arrow is true, then we're going to go minus equals player speed. And if player.y is going up, then we're talking about top bound. And this is going to be less than, because y gets smaller as it goes up. This one's going to be, let's see, b bound. And I think that works. Let's try it. Control Enter. Run. Now I have up, I have down, I have a boundary on the bottom, boundary on the top, boundary on the left, boundary on the right. Okay. Now we did a thing where we paid attention to key clicks, right? Or key presses. So now we're going to add another one for shooting. So if e dot key code double equals keyboard dot space, all caps, then do the stuff in here. Now initially we just want to test it at work. So trace shoot him. So we'll try it. Click, 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 and shoot him comes up in the output panel. So now that that works, I'm like, okay, now I'll do something more complex. Not that much. So we're going to call this one fire1. And I have a function that calls it. Now if I run this, I got a problem. It says undefined method fire1 because I didn't write the function yet. So let's come down here after all that stuff, and we're going to write the function for this. Now notice, without really paying much attention to it, we're into a lot of lines of code. So this might take you a whole class period to do this part. So here's our function, fire1. It has no listener and has no output. So now here's what it's going to do. It's going to say var shot. I think we have multiple shots in here in the library. I can't remember. Let's go look. You know what? Let's just for now have one shot. So I'm going to put this in the garbage. I'm going to call this one shot. Just regular shot. Just to make life easier on this one. So if you want to have multiple shots, you can, but no need. So a variable shot is a copy of shot, and it equals a new shot. Alright, so where do we put this? We're going to add child first, and add child, we're going to add shot. Now I may have forgotten to do something. Let me check up here. What we need is an array to put this in. Do I have an array somewhere? Player speed. I don't have an array. For my shots are going to go into an array. Once I create them, they must go into an array. So I'm back up in my variables for this layer. I'm going to say var shotbox. I always call it shotbox. Call it whatever you like. Shotbox is an array equals a new array. Now notice I kind of skip over this a lot. Sometimes it helps me write stuff. So this is popping up, and I'll hit enter because it's like helping me write stuff, saving me keystrokes. So I'm going to use that array to put the shots in. Once the things get puts on the screen, I'm going to say shot box dot push, and then we say shot. So the shot is being pushed into the shot box array, and then we want to figure out where it is. So x and y position, shot dot x and shot dot y are going to equal player dot x and player dot y, because they start where the player is. So now let's try that out. Running through that. Can you see it? Yeah. Why aren't they moving? Well, they're not moving because we did not yet write the function to move the shots. But we're doing good. So now we're going to use some more magic. I love writing this stuff. It's so fun. So I'm just making some more spaces. It shows up good on the screen for you. Alright. So we're now going to say Add event listener. Now with an event listener for enter frame, you don't have to attach it to something. You say add event listener, and we're going to say event type is an enter frame, and we're going to say move shots. Okay, here's my move shots function. Move shots event void output, no output. And here's what it's going to do. Now this is where it gets tricky. We have to use the for loop, and the for loop uses a variable called I every time because they're all inside their own functions. I is an integer, and it is equal to shot box dot length. So how many objects are in the array called a shot box, and then we subtract 1. As you may recall from our class discussions, an array starts indexing at 0. So an array with 5 objects, the biggest index number will be 4. So we say all values greater than or equal to 0. And then we say I minus minus, which means count down. So start at the top and count your way down. So for each one, we're going to say shot box square brackets I. So this is counting on a specific one by index number. And we're going to take that shot, we're going to say take the Y value and minus equals shot speed. Now I have to go double check because I don't remember if I put shot speed as an array, as a variable in the top. Let's see if we have it somewhere. Clear speed, shot rate. There we go. Shot speed is 15. So I'm good there. So shot speed is there. And we're going to now say, oh, by the way, if the thing leaves the screen, like let's try it before we get too far. Run it. Control the enter. So now they're all moving. But if it keeps going, it remembers each of them by name. And if you push the spacebar and hold it down, they just hose away. That's not good. Makes it too easy. You want them to have some kind of a challenge. So what we want to do is we're going to say, oh, we have to add something to this. We're going to say if playing. So only shoot if playing is true. Now if I've done that and I run it, it's going to give me an error. Syntax error expecting right brace before end of program. Alright, so now what's missing is I have 1, 2, 3 left braces and 1, 2 right braces. So we have to give a right brace to end that piece. Now the thing that comes up is visually these should not all be lined up. So if you want to format them, there's this button right here, format code. If you click that, it makes things look all pretty and nice again. It also took out my extra lines that was moving things down. Okay, so now we have the moving of the shot speed of the shot box or the item. And now we're going to say if parentheses shot box I there we go dot y becomes less than 0. So it's going to get all the way off the screen. Then we want to do this thing where we take it off. So remove child. Watch your typing. Shot box I. So take that one off the screen. So out of sight, out of mind. That's out of sight, and now out of mind. We got to make it forget. So shot box. Oops. Dot splice, and now we say I, 1, and that takes it out of the memory. So now we run this. We got shooting, we got moving, but it also still does the fire hosing. So in order to make it not fire hose like that, we need to add another piece in there that says if shot ready. Oh, you know what we can do is actually add a piece here that says so playing and double ampersand shot ready. And then at the end of this command, we're going to say shot ready false. Alright, so now it's going to shoot once. Oh, it's not working. Something went wrong there. So playing the double ampersand means these two things have to both be true. So what I wanted to have happen is once you shoot once, shot ready turns false.